Hello and welcome to Kickoff with Casey. My name's Casey Patrick, and we've got a lot of college football to talk about this week, including Bama has Georgia's number. Better yet, Bama has Kirby Smart's number. Penn State, James Franklin fails again in the big moments. Florida State, which is also one of the biggest stories of the week. That was my lock of the week. I told you guys last week I thought Florida State was more than 4.5 points better than Virginia. And again, Las Vegas shows you that they have a time machine. They were right. Also, Ole Miss takes down Brian Kelly and LSU. I'm obviously not a Lane Kiffin fan, but I really don't like Brian Kelly. So happy to see the Bayou Bengals go down in that one. And we got all kinds of other football to talk, so y'all make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll start with the Alabama-Georgia game. I'm not saying anything that people already don't know, but Bama does appear to have some sort of curse or something over Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart, I think, is 1-6 or 1-7 against Alabama, and it's astounding to me because I am one of the people that tried to bury Alabama when the season started, when they lost that game to Florida State as badly as they did. I tried to be one of the first guys to throw dirt on them. Now, maybe Bama is better than I thought they were. And I don't think Georgia is an elite team. I don't know if there is an elite team. I feel like Ohio State is very, very good, and they probably might be the best team in the country. I think I would have to give them that edge. But I don't think there's necessarily an elite team in college football right now. And, I mean, last Saturday was a microcosm of that because, I mean, you had so many different upsets and some teams. Sam Pittman got fired. I mean, of course, Arkansas shouldn't have never lost that game by that many points. I was hoping they'd hold on against Notre Dame, but they didn't. But the Bama-Georgia game, I think it just goes to show you that, man, on any given day, anybody, especially in the SEC, I think you really got to be on your toes. Georgia was at home. Alabama looked to be they certainly aren't Nick Saban's Alabama. I think everybody kind of agrees with that. Even Bama fans will tell you that DeBoer isn't the same kind of coach, but if he can get these guys going in the right way, they certainly have the type of talent that can win them football games. You saw it last Saturday over a really good football team on the road. So kudos to them. I hate to give kudos to Alabama, but you kind of have to. You go into Georgia, you win in that type of environment. That's a hard thing to do. So good job to those dudes. And again, the fact that there's no real elite team, in my mind, in my opinion, I don't feel like there's really an elite team in college football. I think this kind of makes the playoff even more fun because it's going to be more about who plays well at the right moments, which is what football should be. And I'm really excited to get to the latter part of the season. There's so much stuff we need to do this week and the next coming weeks to figure out what teams deserve to be there in that final 12 or 16 or whatever it is now. There's so much more work we got to do to figure out who deserves to be there. But man, I'm telling you, I'm really excited about the possibility of. I mean, you might see some type of game like Iowa State at Ole Miss. And when's the last time those two teams played each other? You're going to have a lot of fun matchups. You're going to have a lot of different matchups, unique teams that have different personalities and different traits. And I'm looking forward to it, just personally. But one of the teams that I hope is not there at the end of the year is Penn State, because I don't think they deserve to be there. I don't think James Franklin is good enough as a coach in the big moments. I think the Nittany Lions have enough talent to win any game that they play. I just think James Franklin has shown. I mean, even he said in the press conference, you can't ignore that narrative because it's facts. He said something along the lines of that, and he's right. He's not winning in big moments. He's recruiting really, really well. By all intents and purposes, everybody around there thinks he's doing a great job. But maybe I hold a little bit of hate for James Franklin because of his Vanderbilt days, but I've just never really cared for him. And maybe it's because he's a little bit arrogant, like me. But I don't care for him. I'm glad that they lost, even though, I don't think Oregon winning really helps anybody. But speaking on that game, kudos to James Franklin and Penn State. They were able to come back. That game was like 17-3 with 10, 15 minutes to go in it. So kudos to Penn State for not laying down and playing dead for the last 15 minutes, but they did for the first 45. Oregon is a great team. Dan Lanning is one of the best coaches in the country. And of course, now they've got a top 5 team now, but it's just it's hard to imagine a world where Penn State deserves to be in any type of college football playoff because they have not won a big game against anybody that I can remember. Let them play Vanderbilt. That'd be perfect. Penn State against Vanderbilt in Nashville for a college football playoff game. Vanderbilt's got a huge game this Saturday. If they can come away with a win there, man, I might be talking crazy, but it's possible. Who would I root for? Vanderbilt against James Franklin? I don't know. I don't want to get there yet. We'll talk about it. But Florida State, we'll move on to the next one. Florida State, I wrote it right here. That was my lock of the week, and it was not good. It was a bad one. 19 people were treated with injuries after the crowd rushed the field. It was the most electric crowd rushing I think I had ever seen in college football. And I remember I watched the crowd in, I think it was 2022, when Tennessee beat Alabama 52-49. I've rewatched that game countless times. It's probably sad, really. But I've rewatched that game countless times just to watch the crowd run out on the field, rip the goalpost up out of the ground, carry him out to the river. It gives me a lot of pride to watch that. And, I hated being wrong about Florida State. I hate being wrong. It doesn't happen much. I said that last week and I was wrong. But I do hate being wrong. But in those moments, when you see a team like Virginia that hasn't had a whole lot really go its way lately, now they're ranked 24th in the country. Maybe they've, kind of turned the tide there. But a fan base, a crowd like that, just that type of emotion, you win a huge game over a conference rival. It was electric. It was a lot of fun to watch everybody run out on the field. I wish there was some way to allow this without putting anybody in danger, but that's just simply not possible. You've got at least 22 players on the field. You've got 100 on each sideline, countless media members, coaches, the referees are out on the field, and you're just going to, like Neyland was 100,000 people. Now, not every one of them made it down to the field, but it was close. And in Virginia, what do you think? 45,000, 60,000 people in that stadium? It may not have been that much. It may have been half that. I don't know. But you're talking about a few thousand at least. It looked like it was 10, 15,000 that ran out there on that field, and they were there quick. It was electric. They were on the field fast. Of course, the receiver in the corner for Florida State, Squirrel White, there were a few tweets that said somebody needed to do a welfare check on him. And I was able to see later on in the night that he was fine. He got out of there okay. I think all of the players and coaches and referees were able to get off the field with no problem. But again, you'd have 19 people treated with injuries. And that brings up a whole conversation. I don't want to take away the crowd rushing. And I know that's what the fines are meant to do. And I know that a lot of universities are strongly against it. Let's not do it because they don't want to pay for it. But I just feel like there ought to be some way as a fan to show off, when Tennessee beat Alabama for the first time in what felt like 40 years in 2022, there's a part of me that wishes I would have been in Knoxville to run out there on the field. Now, I'm too broke to afford tickets. There was no way I could have been in that crowd anyway. But there's just something really special about being a part of a fan base that gets to enjoy something like that for the first time in a long time. And we have to do something to make sure that people are safe. We have to. But at the same time, I just don't want to take away the emotion and the joy from college football. I think it would be kind of weird and cringy, but it would be cool if you had like a 10-minute buffer, if you just told everybody like, hey, we're going to let you go crazy, get out here on the field, but let's let the other team off the field first. I know that kind of kills the emotion behind it, but because, I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but Virginia, as soon as that game is over, that ball hit the ground, incomplete pass, and they were on the field. It was quick. It was really awesome. I loved it. I wish you could do it without people getting hurt. Now, moving on to the next thing. Ole Miss takes down Brian Kelly and LSU. I kind of said this a minute ago. I'm obviously not a Lane Kiffin fan, but I do like Ole Miss. I've always kind of liked Ole Miss. I like their colors. I always thought the land shark idea was a cool thing. I don't really have much against Ole Miss. And I've never had too much against LSU. That 2019 LSU team was one of my favorite non-Tennessee teams. It is my favorite non-Tennessee team of all time in college football, especially to watch. Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, the passing game coordinator, Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It was a lot of fun. But I don't like Brian Kelly. I think Brian Kelly's like kind of evil. Like legitimately, trust me. I know I'm not a great person. I make mistakes all the time. There are many times I fall short of the glory of God. I do it every day. Brian Kelly, when I look at him, he looks evil. There's something about him that I don't like, and I'm not even referencing the conspiracy theories from Notre Dame. And there was a young man that lost his life with a weather incident there. You'll have to do your own research on that. I'm not even trying to reference that, even though I just brought it up. But I don't like Brian Kelly, and I'm glad he lost. Lane Kiffin, again, he's arrogant. He's just like me. Is the reason why I don't like him. But Brian Kelly, we're nothing alike, and I don't like him. But good on Ole Miss. Them and LSU just switched spots, 13-4 and 4-13. But Ole Miss is another team you need to look out for those guys at the end of the year. Kiffin's going to have a game plan ready for anybody. They've got some weapons on the offense. The defense is much improved over the first few years that he was there. You can't just look over that team. We're going to move on to Notre Dame just dominating Arkansas. They dominated Arkansas, and I hated it because I love Sam Pittman, and Sam Pittman's fired. And again, I'm going to show you guys. I wrote a little frowny face. I do like Sam Pittman. When Sam Pittman was hired, one of the first things he did is he went in there and he called a lot of the season ticket members, and he just wanted to talk to them and kind of tell them what his vision for the program was. Obviously, it didn't work out. Obviously, Coach Pittman wasn't able to get it going in Arkansas, but he's a great guy. And it's not going to take him long to find another spot somewhere in college football, maybe even the NFL. I know one team that he'd be a great offensive line coach for, but I digress. We will move on to the next thing. Iowa State now 5-0. Rocco Becht and the Cyclones are a team you need to be paying attention to. I think that their schedule is going to play out a little bit easier to allow them a bigger shot at the playoffs, but that's a decent team that doesn't go away. They fight hard. You got to pay attention to those guys. Georgia Tech survives upset bid from Wake Forest. Kudos to Wake Forest. I felt like their game day experience was great. I felt like the environment there at Wake Forest was awesome. It almost threw off the Yellow Jackets, and honestly, it did for about 15 minutes. Georgia Tech was able to kind of put on the gas there later in the game, get back into it. I think Haynes King is one of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks in all of college football when it comes to high leverage moments. He may not be the best, but it's hard to find a quarterback that's been through more, has more experience, and the way he can use his legs. I like Georgia Tech. Again, you kind of hope, or you kind of wish they'd win by more than 1 point against Wake Forest. Maybe Wake Forest is better than I'm giving them credit for. But they did survive, and that's all that matters. Just like Tennessee did. Sometimes all you do is survive, and that's okay. Is Illinois better than I thought? They got beat down 2 weeks ago against Indiana. Now, again, kudos to Indiana. Kudos to Kurt Cignetti, that whole team. They did great. I talked a lot about Brett Bielema after that game. somebody tweeted, and I don't know who this was. Somebody tweeted out that was a professional response from Brett Bielema. And I felt like that was a really good choice of words. That did feel like a good professional response from a guy with, I mean, we talk about experience a lot. Brett Bielema's got a lot of experience. And he definitely used that to get the Fighting Illini back into it. And Illinois come back with a great game. I wrote all that down, and I didn't even write down what they did. Oh, yeah, against USC. Last second thriller. I told you guys last week I wasn't really sure why Illinois was still ranked after getting clobbered by Indiana. But going up against USC, taking down Lincoln Riley, that's another guy we got to talk about. Lincoln Riley, I don't know how much longer they're going to deal with him out there on the West Coast. But make sure y'all don't go anywhere. We're going to go to a commercial real quick. When y'all get back, we're going to talk Tennessee football. I saved them for this segment. We're going to talk Tennessee football, and I'm going to do a top 25 rundown of last week, so make sure you don't go anywhere.
He shoots, and he scores!
Got closer. All new Sportsbook, the latest gaming machines, live horse racing, and more. The Mid Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
Winning just got closer.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
All right, so the Tennessee game, I think there's a lot to talk about. And I know that me being a Tennessee fan makes it easier to talk about them. But there are a few things I want to get to. We'll talk about the game here in just a minute. First of all, Chris Brazzell is getting no love for the Biletnikoff Award. And I don't understand why, because he leads the SEC in receptions, or maybe he's third in receptions, leads in yards, and he's first in touchdowns. And then I think he's third in the country in yards. I get it. Chris Brazzell is not the same brand power as somebody like Jeremiah Smith, who put himself on the front of the college football video game. But it's not Chris Brazzell's fault that the people that talk about this award and the people that are going to vote on it later in the year don't know about him. He has been electric. And Tennessee fans, you know it just as well as I do. He's been a big part of the reason why Joey Aguilar has looked like such a good quarterback through the first 6 weeks of the season. And now I think everything kind of plays in together. The offensive line, Glenn Ellerby, the offensive line coach, they've been great up front. You've got three running backs that could at any point in time all kind of take a lead spot and really be, I don't want to say a workhorse back, but they all come out and they have their own drives and they play well at points, all of them. But then you got Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley, Miles Kitselman, and then you just add Chris Brazzell. When Tennessee brought Chris Brazzell in last year from Tulane, this is what they imagined. The stuff he's doing now, this guy is unguardable. He's almost like a creative player out there, and he has been. Now, that goes into my next point. Chris Brazzell was called for an offensive pass interference. Now, if you go back and you watch the slow-mo replay, it's easy to poke and prod at the refs and say, you messed up. They did. They missed that call, my personal opinion, and I think it's the rest of the internet's as well. They missed that call. But in live time, it looked like offensive pass interference. I'm not even as mad about that call. What I am mad about is Colton Hood getting called for a defensive pass interference when he's not touching the receiver. And it just seems like week after week and call after call. Why is the SEC officiating so bad? Other than the NFL, there is no league, there is no conference, in my opinion, again, that plays better football than the SEC. You could say the Big Ten, whatever, that's fine. But the SEC is, I think it's the biggest conference in college football. It's obviously, I think, makes the most money. How is it that we still have low IQ morons that wear zebra shirts screwing up every game? It's terrible. Every Saturday, they find some way to make it about them. Nobody shows up to a football game to watch the guys in the zebra shirts. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. If you're a referee and you're watching me right now, I hope you're happy. I hope you do great. Nobody's coming to a football game to watch you. Maybe your wife and kids. Nobody else, the rest of the fans are not there to watch you guys throw flags all day long. I understand there are flags. I understand you need to throw them. But why can't we figure something out? Because this is week in, week out. The entire internet is up in arms about how bad the officiating is in the NCAA or in the SEC. It's terrible. It's bad. And yeah, I'm a Tennessee fan. I am playing the victim right now because I do feel like we kind of get the short end of the stick, and maybe more than everybody else just because I pay attention to it. But how is it? I mean, we saw that Auburn-Oklahoma game last week. You see all these other different instances. Why does this happen still badly? Just consistently bad. Greg Sankey, I hope you're watching. I'm being dead serious. You need to fix the officials. You need to fix. This is a problem that needs to be fixed. This is the biggest, most important football league in the world other than the National Football League. Again, in my opinion, but I think I'm right. Why can't we get officials that are good at their job? I know that I could be better at my job. I know that I could be better as a coach. I could be better as a person. We can all be better at what we're doing. But why are the officials so bad? It's so bad. It's so bad. It drives me insane. I can feel my blood pressure going up. Oh, and then we're going to talk about the game. Tennessee's defense was not bad. When Tennessee's defense was bad on Saturday, it was a direct result of whatever Tim Banks was doing. I think there needs to be a real conversation about bringing in some help to help him or something. The defensive players saved that game. Arion Carter and I believe it was Bryson Eason on the defensive line on that last drive in overtime. They were the difference makers. They were huge. Arion Carter, again, I got to see him live a few years ago, more than a few years ago now. He was a running back and linebacker at Smyrna when they came to Dixon County. And I remember watching him run down the field for a 70-yard touchdown, and I said, man, he looks like a SEC football player. And he sure does. He's a heck of a linebacker, and he's, really, his entire the 4 plays there from first and goal to fourth and goal were paramount in Tennessee winning that game. Mississippi State, I give you guys a lot of credit. I even talked to a few fans. I got some family down in Mississippi. That's a good team. That's a heck of a team. The Cowbells are annoying. They're still annoying. But that's a heck of a team. They played really, really hard on Saturday. But Tennessee squeaking away 41-34. Here's the thing. I know as a Tennessee fan, you can look for a billion things to not be happy about. Tennessee fans have already barked so much at the kicker that he turned his replies off on Twitter. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, by the way. If you're a grown person talking crap to a college kid that's a kicker, get over yourself, please. But in addition to that, Tennessee could have played better. Everybody with a brain can tell that. I mean, obviously. But when you go on the road in a really, really tough league and you beat an undefeated team with artificial noisemakers, I think you ought to get a lot of credit for that win. Tennessee did not play well. Tennessee played really badly, actually, in my opinion, and they came away with a win. I think that says a lot, and I think it says a lot of good things. So that's enough about that game. We're going to do the top 25 rundown real quick. I feel like I'm running out of time. I was a little bit quick last week. That episode wasn't nearly as long as I wanted it to be, so I may go a little long this week. We're going to start Ohio State 24-6 over Washington. Defense very strong for the Buckeyes. Miami had a bye. We talked about Penn State losing to Oregon. We talked about LSU losing to Ole Miss. We talked about Georgia losing to Bama. Of course, Oregon. Number 7, Oklahoma on a bye. Florida State, we talked about it. Texas A&M wins a field goal kicking contest with the Tigers, 16-10. Texas also on a bye. Indiana, 20-15 over Iowa. That's every Iowa game. 20-15. Take a W when you can over those guys. Texas Tech had a bye. They're number 12. Number 13, Ole Miss. We talked about. Number 14, Iowa State. We also talked about. Number 15, Tennessee. I just got done talking about. Number 16, Georgia Tech. 30-29 over Wake Forest. I know we talked about them too, but again, Haynes King. I like him. That's a team you really you can't sleep on those guys. We talked about Alabama taking down Georgia. Vanderbilt, 55-35 over Utah State. Kind of felt like that's what was going to happen in that game. Vanderbilt's defense isn't bad. Don't look at 35 by Utah State and think that the Vanderbilt defense is bad. Utah State has some guys, and they will throw the ball around. But Vanderbilt just pushing them around. Good for them. 19, Michigan by 20. Missouri destroys UMass, 42-6. I have not watched a down of Missouri football. I know nothing about them. 21, USC. Lincoln Riley, job, that seat's getting hot. 22, we talked about Notre Dame taking down Arkansas. We talked about Illinois, USC. TCU falling to Arizona State. I think, did Arizona State get back in the AP top 25? Which is crazy because Mississippi State ain't there. Arizona State better not be there. I think I saw them there, though. And then we'll round it out, 25, BYU, 24-21 over Colorado. Make sure y'all don't go anywhere. Whenever you come back, we're going to talk about next week's big games, and I've got another lock of the week. Hopefully this week it's better.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
He shoots, and he scores!
Got closer. All new Sportsbook, the latest gaming machines, live horse racing, and more. The Mid Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
Winning just got closer.
Welcome, and thank y'all for coming back. We're going to start, first of all, Saturday, I'm going to be at Creekwood High School. Dixon County's hosting Spring Hill. So I've got a high school game I'm going to be at Saturday. It's an off week for Tennessee. 11 o'clock, I didn't see a lot of great games, but there is one game I'm kind of interested in, and I may go home and watch the replay of this one, or at least some of the highlights. Air Force at Navy, that'll be on Paramount Plus. I don't always advertise the channels, but I think that could be a lot of fun to watch if y'all want to tune into that one. And then Texas at Florida. Texas is, I think, 9.5-point favorites in this game, which is surprising because I think they could score less than 9 and win, which might actually happen. I'm not even kidding. That's not a joke. But Texas at Florida, I could see Florida figuring out a way to win this game just so Napier can keep his job. I don't know what's going to happen there. But I wrote it down because SEC games are always tough. Texas has to go into the swamp. It's not an easy place to win. Trust me. I've watched my team try. And then this is really, I think this is the big game. Vanderbilt at Alabama. Game day is going to be there. I've got a star by this game. I think it's the big game. But not just because, Vanderbilt's good, like really good for the first time in a long time, and Bama, it looks like it could be a close game. This game has the opportunity to really change the future. I mean, honestly, if Vanderbilt goes out here and punches Alabama in the mouth, you're going to see a shift. Alabama losing 2 times in a row to Vanderbilt. Just think about that in your head for a minute. Kalen DeBoer, the seat's gonna be hot. I think it's still hot, even after beating Georgia last week. I think the early season struggles are still so bad that, yeah, he beat Georgia, and good for him, but I think there are still some people that don't really like DeBoer in that situation. And if Vanderbilt can go into Tuscaloosa and win that game, I'm just saying, it could change the future. The last big game of the night, Miami at Florida State. Number 3, Miami at 18, Florida State. Seminoles dropped down big after a loss. That one's 6:30 on ABC. I'll be able to get home and watch that one. And then my lock of the week. I looked around and I tried to figure out what I wanted. And I figured, you know what? I've been talking about them so much. Iowa State. I love it. Rocco Beck, Iowa State. I want to see what the Cyclones can do. They're going to Cincinnati. And Cincinnati is 1.5-point favorites. Give me Iowa State to win it straight up. That's what I'm taking. Cincinnati's 3-1 on the year. They lost week 1 to Nebraska, 20-17. But since then, they beat Bowling Green by 2 touchdowns. Northwestern State by 10 touchdowns. And then they won last week, 37-34 over Kansas. I don't think Cincinnati's that good. And I think Iowa State and the Cyclones are going to figure out how to get it done on the road. I did go a little bit longer this week, but that's all right, making up for some missed time from last week. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me. Again, I did have a few comments from last week on the show. I had a friend of mine reach out, and he's a Texas fan, so he didn't necessarily care for my Arch Manning comment, but that's all right. It's fun to go back and forth with people. So any of y'all got something you want to say about it? You got my number, hit me up. You got my email, let me know. Comment on here, whatever you want to say. But thank y'all for hanging out with me. Have fun this week, and let's watch us some more college football on Saturday. See y'all.